जय जय राम ओम। श्री राम 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 जय जय राम ओम।
Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai 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 Ram, Jai 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 Jai Ram, Jai Ram,
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Jai
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram. Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, 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 Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Swami Chidananji Maharaj has elaborately written about divine name. We will just go through that because before the Namotsava starts, we are now trying to become aware of the power of the name. Probably when we become aware of the power of the name, we might develop faith and devotion. That can only give us the sweetness. Blessed immortal Atman, beloved sadhakas and seekers upon the path that leads to fearlessness and freedom, upon the path that leads to the cessation of all sorrows, that brings about eternal satisfaction and the attainment of supreme bliss. God is intangible, avyakta, adrishta, agochara, unmanifest, unseen, imperceptible. All this is made very clear in the Vishnu Sahasranama. He is Gudha, Eko Deva Sarva Bhudeshu Gudaha. The one Lord is hidden in all beings. He is Sukshmadi Sukshma, subtler than the subtlest. Avangamano Gochara, not known by the senses of the mind. Yato Vacho Nivartande Aprapya Manasa Saha. When all speech along with the mind turned back, not reaching it. Aprapya. not reachable. Not reachable. He is beyond thought, beyond speech. What then is the way to approach God? We are bound in gross physical consciousness, severely limited to thinking in terms of name and form. Without the basis support of names and forms, there is no vichara, inquiry into the nature of the self. In our antakarana, that being the case, what is it that can link us with that which is beyond speech, mind, thought, beyond the grasp of the intellect? Is there some bridge for us, bound as we are in gross conceptual thinking, objective thought, beyond the objective thought? All our vrittis and Vishayakara vrittis, thoughts of sense objects, all our vrittis are Vishayakara vritti, thoughts of sense objects. We can only think in terms of time and space, name and form, here and there, this and that, not of the transcendental. Bound in this state of limited, finite consciousness, what is the possibility of trying to link ourselves with that which is infinite, with that which is beyond time and space, beyond name and form? It is here that the great science of the practice of the divine name comes as an answer to this problem. This great barrier between the known and the unknown, the finite and the infinite, the manifest and the unmanifest, the individual and the universal. Divine name is like a boatman who touches both banks. He comes to this bank, he can take us across because he goes to the other bank as well. The name has this great advantage. The divine name is like a boatman who touches both banks. He comes to this bank and he can take us across because he goes to the other bank as well. The name has this greatest advantage. God is intangible. Whatever we know of God in temples, mosques, synagogues, churches is only created by man, conceptual. We have to superimpose upon the symbols and images our imagination, our ideas of a higher being. However, this intangible being is present with us in one tangible aspect, which we can actually create, experience, feel, and practice. That is the name, which we ourselves can articulate very clearly. It has a sound we can hear with our ear and we can write it with our hand. The Rupa of Bhagavan is beyond our comprehension. But here is something, an aspect of God identical with Him, discovered in ancient times. It is the mantra, the sacred syllable or word of the Supreme Absolute Being. Here is a being that is named, yet it is formless. Therefore, it has contact with the formless world. Itself being devoid of Rupa, being Nirakara, it has contact with the Nirakara Parabrahma Tattva. Parabrahma is Nirakara Nirguna, but here it is Nirakara but Saguna. Formless but with attributes. It is in the form of sound. It is in the form of nama. It is vibration. It is a tangible sound from which we can hear with our gross ear. We can even put it on tape, reproduce it, amplify it, broadcast it. So here is something which you can do what you like with. And the greatest astounding truth about it is divinity in manifestation as sound. It is divinity manifest as Shabda or Nada, which Vedanta refers to as Shabda Brahman or Nada Brahman. He who is beyond Nada is caught by Nada. He can be thus approached by this particular Nada because it is Nirakara. So it is at once a Tattva that has access to the beyond, the formless Parabrahma Tattva to that field, and at the same time it has access to Saguna, the field in which we are living. For us, everything has some quality, and this has one of the 5 main qualities perceived by us: form, taste, sound, touch, smell. It is Shabda and it is identical with God. Nama and Nami, the Lord and His name, are identical. Thus, every mantra composed out of the divine name, containing the divine name, framed around the divine name, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai, Om Shri Krishnaya Namaha. Every mantra is structured around this direct manifest form of the Supreme Self in the form of Nada, and that is Nam. Therefore, Patanjali has a sutra which says that perfection can be obtained through repetition of the name. And Jagadguru Lord Krishna says, "He who repeats my name at the time of leaving the body attains me. He does not return once again into this mortal world." Abheda of Nama and Nami has been established by the direct experience of those who have practiced this path attain perfection. And one among those whom we know within historical memory, who attained Sakshatkar sheerly through making use of the divine name, was the Guru of Shivaji, the Samartha Ramadas, who knew nothing, who did nothing except practice Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. And on the other side of the Indian subcontinent, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu attained divine consciousness, was inebriated with God consciousness through Nam Sankirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He spread this great way to God consciousness throughout the length and breadth of India. He established the supremacy of the name as the one unfailing, sure method in Kali Yuga. Kevalam Nama Adharaha. The name of the Lord is the one refuge in this iron age. And it is only the reviver of an ancient. Even before Lord Rama incarnated himself in the world, the hunter and dacoit Ratnakar attained perfection through constant practice of the divine name. He was illiterate, uncouth, uneducated, of the forest hunting tribe, and he actually did the name in the wrong way, Mara. As the great Tulsidas said, the whole world knows that Valmiki attained Brahmic consciousness, attained the realization of Aham Brahmasmi by doing japa, even in a wrong way. He is renowned in Indian spiritual history as one who attained the supreme state of Brahmic consciousness by japa and japa alone, because he knew nothing else. He did not know Sanskrit, nor Vedanta, nor the Upanishads, nor the Bhagavata. He did not know Hatha Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, nor Kundalini. He did not know Asana, nor Pranayama, and therefore he could only do what he was capable of doing. He got hold of the Ram Nam and became endowed with Brahmic consciousness, became an illumined sage. He became the great sage Valmiki, who produced the immortal epic Valmiki Ramayana. He had been a murdering, desperado, cruel, violent, sinner, yet he became one with Brahman in his spiritual consciousness solely through the repetition of the divine name. All saints and spiritual teachers who have come India over the past 300 or 400 years have never failed to emphasize and lay great stress on the practice of divine name as the unfailing and certain way to attain God realization. And Gurudev Swami Shivanji Maharaj, in the third of his 20 spiritual instruction, do japa of some mantra or just Om according to your taste or inclination from 108 to 21,600 times daily. Twenty maras. The yogic calculation of human breathing is that there are 21,600 breaths within each cycle of 24 hours. Oh. They say that with each breath utter the name of God. Therefore, the third instruction is to take up this unfailing sure path. In this lies your highest welfare. The path of the divine name in this Kali Yuga is the supreme, the least complicated, most efficacious, unfailing, simple, powerful path. Our effort should be to now how to develop the sweetness, Papa talks about sweetness. Ramdas can tell you this much, that from the very time he started repeating the name, he began to feel the sweetness of it. So he used to pray to God, he does not want anything else, only he wants your name. Let your name be ever on his tongue, because it is so sweet. So it proved to be not a means to an end, but an end in itself. What does it mean? It proved to be not a means to an end, but an end in itself.
So so much bliss he was deriving in the chanting itself, that itself was everything.
This is the wonder about the name which he is repeating it. It depends upon the repeater, of course. And we will hear in Papa's own words. It depends upon the repeater, of course. Unless we are free from the low passions of the heart, we cannot taste the sweetness of the name. Sugar is sweet. By nature it is sweet. It can never be bitter. So the name is by nature sweet. But when this sweet sugar is put in the mouth of a man who is having some kind of fever, he finds the taste not sweet but bitter. He throws it away. That shows the man is diseased. When we are diseased with low desires, the name does not taste sweet to us. We must go to a doctor who can cure us of the disease. The doctor is the Guru, who by his presence removes our disease of desires and gives us this nectarian name, and you find that instant it is sweet. And sweetness comes to you as long as you are going on repeating the name, until at last you become sweetness itself. Not merely the taster of the sweetness, but sweetness itself. So you drink and drink and drink the name until the drinker and the drink become one. Sweetness comes to you as long as you are going on repeating the name, until at last you become sweetness itself. We are also chanting, we find some joy, sweetness, but as soon as it is stopped, as soon as the chanting is stopped, sweetness also goes. So what does it mean? So you drink and drink and drink the name until the drinker and the drink become one. Three things are there, no? Not a means to an end, but an end in itself. You become sweetness itself, not merely the taster of the sweetness. And he says, drink and drink and drink the name until the drinker and the drink become one. What we are doing is only reading this and passing it on, no? The drinker and the drinker must not become one. Every time this is what we use for initiation. So every time when this is given, it comes to us. So that is why we say, Papa says, that's all. He could enjoy, he reached. He does not want anything else, only he wants your name. because it proved to be not a means to an end but an end in itself. When we go to Shanti Ashram, we see that board, you know. What is that board?
Swami is gone. In you.
The Swami is dead, Omkar
He's alive in you.
is alive. What is that meaning?
The sense of individuality is completely merged into the Om, the Omkar. So only Omkar is left. Is the drinker and drinker become one.
Can interpret. We can interpret. Because we have not reached that stage.
We can only interpret that fact.
We can interpret.
And you can imagine
The
that
Swami is dead, the outer form. But Omkar is alive. Normally we confuse, you know, Swami Omkarji, the body, you know. Huh? So he said the Swami is dead.
this is written after he dropped the body.
Huh?
This is written after he dropped the body.
Before he dropped the body, he must have written this.
You must have asked them to put it there.
Inscribe it there.
We don't know. Everyone interprets.
He must have told them to inscribe.
No, otherwise nobody
this.
will have the courage to do that.
That's the thing, nobody will have a courage.
That is what we infer, you know.
Yes. But when we said this, then obviously it means a sense of individuality in the Swami is.
Om is the primordial vibration underlying all existence. Constant remembrance of Om is seen as a means to quieten the mind and awaken awareness of the self. A beautiful concluding line for these masters could be, though their paths appeared different, devotion, knowledge, meditations are almost. Vinoba Bhave deeply valued Ramnam. He regarded repetition of divine name as purifier of motives, source of fearlessness, support for selfless action. Yogananda Paramahamsa, chanting is half the battle. Half the battle.
Chanting is half the battle.
Yogananda taught that chanting and devotion help interiorize the mind and awaken direct experience of divine joy. Raghavendra Swami emphasized devotion, surrender and remembrance of Hari. Devotees believe his life demonstrated and the protective and uplifting power of divine remembrance and unwavering bhakti. Swami Jnanananda Tapovanam. Jnanananda Swami stressed inward awareness, simplicity, meditation, divine remembrance as aids. Okay. Sai Baba of Shirdi. Shirdi Sai Baba constantly encouraged remembrance of God through faith and surrender. Shraddha or Saburi. Saburi. He also encouraged repetition of God's name and trust in the divine during all circumstances. Chandrasekharananda Swami Kanjipariyava. He repeatedly encouraged simple living, Nam Japa, regular chanting. He often advised devotees in Kali Yuga, Nama Sankirtana is the simplest and safest path. Kanakadasa. Kanakadasa's songs overflow with devotion and surrender through constant remembrance of the Lord. His life beautifully illustrates how devotion and Nama transcend social barriers and outer identity. Narayana Guru emphasized purity, inner upliftment, universal vision. Swami Chinmayananda. Japa is the art of keeping the mind anchored in the divine. Swami Chinmayananda explained that repetition of the divine name prevents the mind from dissipating in endless distraction. Tapovanji Maharaj, a mind becomes pure and subtle through continuous remembrance of the name. Neem Karoli Baba, repeat the name of God at all the time. Though his teachings were simple and brief, Neem Karoli Baba constantly encouraged remembrance of God through repetition of the divine name, love and surrender. Satya Sai Baba, the ceaseless repetition of the name of the Lord will keep evil thoughts away. He often advised devotees to combine Namasmarana with love, service, purity in daily life. Sri Anandamaya. Take the name constantly. Through the name, everything is attained. Ma Anandamaya taught that even if the mind wanders, one should not abandon the name, because the name itself gradually draws the mind towards God. Swami Chidananji, let the divine name become the background music of your life. Let the divine name become the background music of your life. He beautifully explained that chanting should not remain confined to prayer time alone, but continue silently amidst all activities. Swami Shivananda, Nama and Nami are one. The name of God is a potent spiritual force. It vibrates with divine energy. Swami Shivananda repeatedly stressed that sincere Namjapa purifies the heart, removes restlessness, fills life with peace and devotion. Swami Ramtirtha, repeat the name of the Lord with every breath. Let the mind melt into Him. Ramtirtha taught that Nama should become continuous like the flow of breathing, until the distinction between the chanter and the Lord appears. Repeat the name of the Lord with every breath. Swami Vivekananda, the repetition of the name of God has a wonderful power to purify the mind. Vivekananda emphasized that the divine name helps gather the scattered mind and gradually turns it inward toward the higher reality. So every Mahatma brings this point. So many, we were just trying. How many? Adi Shankaracharya, though known for Advaita Vedanta, Adi Shankaracharya repeatedly emphasized devotion and remembrance of God as essential for purification of the mind. Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate, worship Govinda, worship Govinda. He reminds seekers that intellectual scholarship alone cannot give liberation without devotion and remembrance of the divine. Samprapte sannihite kale nahi rakshati dukriti karne. Bhaja Govindam. Namasmaranad anyam upayam nahi. We see no other means for crossing the ocean of worldly existence than remembrance of the divine. Jayam Gita Nama Sahasram. Shreyam Shipati Rupam Achasvam. Neyam Sajjana Sankhe Chittam. Deyam Deena Janaya Chittam. Sing the Gita and the 1,000 names of the Lord. Meditate and constantly upon the form of the Lord. Keep the mind in the company of the noble. Here Nama Sahasram refers to the chanting of recitation of the 1,000 divine names. This is very significant because Shankara, though the great opponent of non-dual wisdom, clearly prescribes remembrance of divine names, meditation, satsang, selfless giving as practical. Nama was not opposed to jnana, rather Nama helped refine and prepare the mind of truth. The mind becomes refined not merely by thinking about the truth, but by repeatedly turning itself to the divine through Nama, noble company, contemplation, and compassionate action. Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram. Nama Smaranad Anyam Upayam Nahi Pashyamo Bhavetarne. We see no other means of crossing the ocean of worldly existence than remembrance of the divine name. And of course, Papa has written volumes and volumes and volumes on Namajapa. In his article, God and his name are not distinct from one another. Name is God himself. The moment we think of the name, our mind is filled with the presence of God. There is no easier way of focusing thought upon God than constantly taking his name. When we repeat the name aloud, we feel our heart is flooded with the ecstasy of love because the sound of the divine name awakens the heart of the bliss and love for God. Although mental repetition of the name is held to be far more efficacious than verbal repetition, still the rare experience of sweetness and joy derived by uttering the name aloud is incomparable. When the entire being of the devotee thrills with rapture to the music of the name, he realizes that the name is Brahman. God is both manifest and unmanifest. The name stands for such a God. Here the unmanifest is the all-pervading, infinite, immutable, tranquil, static spirit of God. The manifest is the entire universe of name, form and movement with all its beings, creatures and things. The name stands for this all-inclusive, all-transcendent Godhead, who is both personal and impersonal. The divine name is thus the beginningless source of all creation and the creation itself. God the Absolute is the nameless name. God the Absolute is the nameless name. The name can free the soul from bondage. The name can take it to the highest consummation of spiritual life. The name can grant a blind soul divine light. The name can bless an individual with a universal vision full of sublimity. The name can lift the soul to inconceivable heights of God realization. The power of the name is invincible. A mind which is considered to be unconquerable becomes docile, yielding, submissive by the soothing influence of the name. The mind itself is transformed into God by the power of the name. He who takes refuge in the name can work wonders. He can command all the forces of nature. The name can make a human being an embodiment of eternal love and joy. The name can convert an individual into a cosmic reality. Where the name of God is sung, the atmosphere is permeated with purity, pure and bliss. For the symphony of the name spreads everywhere, the splendor of love. Name is all-sufficient. Utterance of it is itself meditation. Ecstasy born of it is itself samadhi. Name is love, light, power and joy. The writer can vouch for it from his own experience, that the name by itself, without any other sadhana, can grant one the fullest vision of God everywhere and merge him in an ocean of never-ending love and joy. There is no sadhana which can be so universally adopted by all people and is at the same time so simple for realizing God as a divine name. It is perfectly true, in the words of a saint, that he who has God's name always on his tongue is a Jivan Mukta or a liberated soul. So dear friends, to whatever race, caste, creed or clear you may belong, take up the name of God, feel the sweet communion with it, and you may depend upon it. Your souls, through constant bathing in the nectar of the name, will not only be purified, but also will be illumined with the omnipresent and omniscient light and love of God. This practice of taking the name will lead the unyielding spirit of man to complete surrender to the omnipotent power and will of God. In the earlier stages, when the name is repeated with earnestness, faith and concentration, the face and the body of the devotee will shine with a peculiar lustre. His mind will be filled with wisdom and heart with love. This is due to the predominance of Sattva-guna in the devotee. Later, when the repetition is continued with the same ideal, he will behold the universe before him as the very expression of God. Becoming one with God, he will have the vision of God everywhere. Verily, the name is God himself. So many, we are reading. So we are praying to him now, give us something of what you have said. Enable us to combine, because we still feel from our own experience, the joy we get during the chanting of the name does not last us when we come out of it. So our intellect says that is because of the me and mine steps in. So during the chanting, proportionate to the devotion we have, the fellow is kept out. So the moment the chanting is over, the fellow comes in and takes hold of us. This is what we feel. So we have to keep on praying to him. This should not happen to us. What you make us to taste. There is something, otherwise why do we go for Nama chanting? Why do we enjoy the chanting? Why do we chant ourselves? Why do we fish a quota and chant? Something is there, na? That is why Mataji knows our weakness. She introduced the word 15,500 crore Nam Jap Yajna for world peace. Some nimitta should be there. And now you see, I think we are in the 4th round or 5th round.
That also 7,000 plus.
That means more than 60,000 crores we have already. But she has also, initially people may think why the world is like that. Then only we come to know when we go through her instruction. As soon as the round is over, we should not stop until. That means it is a never ending. Through that, she has injected into us some motivation should be there to take up chanting. So through this chanting, we are all definitely joining the chanting. Through that, she has slowly made us to chant. And that has come to stay. Everyone in the ashram definitely chants some malas every day. Not because they have to report to somebody. Inside they feel, oh, I have not done my nama. So that stage we have reached. Now we are asking for the second and final stage. The Nami and the Nama should become one. The chanter and the chanted and the chanting should become one. The Bhakta and the Bhagavan should become one. The prayer should be there. That's why we know he is now asking us, apart from whatever you are doing, intensely you pray. Because the other things, you may still feel, I am chanting, I am doing. Only by prayer, intense prayer, heartfelt prayer, we have been assured that we will be lifted from that stage, that I am chanting. From that stage to, he is making us to chant. Anyway, let us all keep on praying and doing chant. At the same time, chanting also should be there. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram